everyone, I'm Lady Clover Honey and welcome to Clover Culinary. Tonight we're not cooking in my usual Jersey City kitchen, as you might have noticed. I'm on location in the Queens Borough of New York City in the kitchen of Jen Ryan and Joe Aiello. Tonight they're going to show me one of their favorite recipes called Chicken and Dumplings. Joe and Jen were married in 2014 with a ceremony officiated by Joan Rivers. Jen is an actor who is in the movie Modest Male Exposure with me. He is also a publisher and writer for LavenderAfterDark.com. So hi guys, and don't you look sharp in your aprons? I love it. A man in an apron. Oh, nice. So it's so great to be here in your kitchen. So we're in the Queens section of New York City. Yes. Queens Borough of New York City. We love it here in Queens. A queen in the Queens, right? Yes. So this is not really only a kitchen, but it's also a library. I've never seen so many books in a kitchen before.
Hi, yes. I've been collecting cookbooks for a while. I have a lot of regional cookbooks. I also have some humorous ones, like I have the Gilligan's Island Marianne cookbook. I have Aunt Bee's Mayberry cookbook. And I also have, of course, the Gay cookbook. Mostly we use these now for inspiration. We'll take a recipe and try and fit something into what we have to work with in the kitchen. And that's how Jed and I cook a lot. We call it availabilist cooking. We find what we have and then see what we can do with it.
So I'm here with Joe Aiello, and he's going to prep and prepare the first steps to making his wonderful chicken and dumplings recipes.
Yes, hi. So I'm starting out, I have a couple of tablespoons of butter in here.
Butter.
And I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil. This way the butter doesn't burn. And
you got to be careful, butter burns easily. We don't like burnt butter.
Yes, unless you're making brown butter, in which case it's okay. So, I happen to love the kitchen. It's my second favorite room in the house.
Oh, really?
You don't really need to know the answer to that. Yeah, that obvious question.
Don't ask.
So I've just put in 2 cups of chopped onions, and I have a cup of chopped celery here. And I'm going to give this a quick stir, let those sweat out a little bit. And then to that I am adding 1 teaspoon each of poultry seasoning and dried thyme. And you'll just stir that up and let that, and you can already smell it really, you know,
very aromatic.
Yes. I like to add the herbs at this point here because the sweating part of it also helps bring out the oils.
Add it right in the beginning, because some people don't add it until after the meat's in, but you just add it right in the beginning.
Yeah, because it's good. It gives it a, it lets the oils sweat. I learned this, they do that a lot in Indian cooking, although a lot of their spices really need that. So you don't need to sweat this too long because it's going to be simmering for a while. So,
for about how many minutes would it be simmering?
Total with the chicken? I'd say just maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, just until it starts to get a little translucent. Okay. You know, give it a little stir every once in a while. Yeah. So we are using boneless, skinless chicken thighs here. A lot of the recipes call for chicken breasts or chicken pieces. I find the thighs are better because they have a little more flavor, a little more fat, and they stay more moist when you're cooking them long term. And without the bone and without the skin, there's a lot less work to do. Right. You know, you just throw them in and then you shred them up. So these have been sauteed nicely. They don't have to be completely cooked because again, it's going to cook in the stock. So
a lot of people are afraid to use cooked dark meat chicken, but they really shouldn't be. It's very flavorful and moister.
Yes. So I'm just going to take these chicken pieces and put them in here. Again, you're not browning them because there's no skin, and they're going to be cooking mostly in the stock. So this is about 3 pounds of chicken thighs. So what I'm going to do is put this all in here and then give it a quick stir to mix everything up before I... Okay. Now I'm just gonna give this a quick... Actually, this would probably work better. Just a quick, I'm gonna lower this temperature a little bit. Just want to give it a little, to get everything mixed in before I put the stock in. So we have 2 quarts of low salt chicken stock that you're going to add in here. And an interesting trick that I learned, if you pour it like this rather than the other way, it flows much more easily.
Oh, that's a few.
Yeah.
The little tricks, tips and tricks, always good to pick up.
Yes. This will need to simmer for about 30 minutes. I'd say check it after 30 minutes. Right. If the meat tears apart easily, then you're ready to move on to the next step.
Okay.
So now I'm just going to cover this, and we will let this simmer for about 30 minutes, and we'll come back to it at that point.
Okay, great. Well, so far it smells good. We can't wait for the 30 minutes to be up.
Yes, me too. Okay.
So the chicken's done now? The
yes,
done now, right?
The chicken is done.
Okay.
So I'm going to take it out, and this spider thing that you get at the Chinese restaurants, or the Chinese stores, are really very helpful because it gets all the stuff out and lets all the liquid stay. If a little bit of the veggies come in there, that's fine. And you just want to make sure you get all the chicken. And then what you're going to do is take 2 forks and just shred it all up.
Oh, so it all fits in your spoon.
Yes, so it comes into like bite-sized pieces. So it's not that hard to do, and as you can see, it does it fairly easily. And this is why you're cooking the chicken whole in whole pieces rather than cutting them up, because it's easier to shred.
Right. I think the dark meat chicken would be easier than light meat too. Than light meat breast, right?
Definitely. It like I said, it has some more moisture to it. It has some more, a little bit of fat, so that gives it some flavor. And okay. And again, you can make them as small or as, however you want them, whatever your personal preference is. I like to have them kind of shredded so that you get a whole, so that everything sort of blends together. So we have this all shredded up. So now we're going to put this back in the pot. Get everything in. And okay. And then, now traditionally this is not done, but we like to add some vegetables. We are using for this, in this case, peas and carrots. You can pretty much pull out whatever bag of frozen veggies you have in your freezer and do that. And you just pour the whole bag in. Give that a quick stir. And now the next ingredient is a can of low fat, ideally if you can find low fat and low salt, cream of chicken soup, that's ideal. If not, go for either the low fat or the low sodium, whichever one is your personal preference. And you're just gonna pour this in here. Might need a little help from this. Oops, I didn't want to do that. And then you give it a quick stir, and you're gonna let that simmer while you prepare the dumplings.
So Joe made this delicious stew soup, and now Jed's gonna make the dumplings. So how do you make your dumplings, Jed?
It's time to make the dumplings. And as an added note, the chicken, while it is cooking, if you need to thicken up your mixture, because who doesn't like it thick, add a little slurry of cornstarch or some flour and make it as thick as you like it, and there we go. So now it is time to make the dumplings. And we are going to use 1 3/4 cups of regular flour, and we are going to use some evaporated milk. Fat-free evaporated milk. Some recipes may call for skim milk, but the evaporated milk, again, will add some body and make it thicker. 2 tablespoons of baking powder, and 1 pinch of cayenne pepper, and just a little bit of salt. We want to blend these all together, and don't forget the cayenne pepper, and that's what's going to add that little bit.
It'll give it a little bit of a kick.
A little bit of a kick. You can estimate, obviously, as to what a pinch is. Of course, we happen to have this handy. Pinch.
Oh, well, who uses measuring spoons? Just sprinkle it in.
Depends. Yeah. Obviously, everybody's going to discover what they think is best, their own recipe. So, we are going to add our wet ingredients. We are going to add 3/4 cup of milk. So, we have 1/2 cup and 1/4 cup. Whoops. And we are going to save 1/4 cup of the evaporated milk also to add there. Again, just to add some added thickness. So we're going to add that. Alrighty. And add your dry ingredients. And here comes the fun part. We are going to whisk this all together until it becomes thick. So you'll notice this is getting very thick already. Yes, very thick, very doughy, and a little bit messy too. Wow. So, alrighty. Alright, the main thing is, put some muscle into it. One of the things I like about this particular recipe is, not only does it have a long history of being an American comfort food and being very popular, but it's a big crowd pleaser and can be done in one pot as well. The great thing about the dumplings is they will cook right in the mixture.
Okay. So now we drop the dumpling dough into the stew, and it will cook right in the stew. So we use a little ice cream scoop for this.
Yes, and we want to treat the dumplings very delicately, because we certainly don't want them to break apart. And they will cook on their own.
So put about a tablespoonful of dumpling dough.
Or use an ice cream scoop if you have one, because it's fun.
You're using an ice cream scoop and scraping it off with a spoon and drop it right in the stew.
Yep. And you'll be amazed at how well those cook on their own there. Again, what I love about this is it's a one-pot meal, and you got your chicken, you got your vegetables, you got your dumplings.
And of course, it tastes delicious.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Well, I know that you and Joe are good cooks, so I'm sure your dumpling recipe will be really good. I'm so glad that you're showing us this chicken and dumpling recipe.
Well, cooking can be fun, but not as fun as eating it, because that's the best part.
So after the dumplings are made, you put them in the stew, and it should cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. I would say 15 minutes with a covered lid. And we'll have cooked dumplings. So let's check on the dumplings.
Ooh. Okay, ooh, looks perfect.
These look about done.
You did a great job.
You guys did too.
It's a joint effort today.
You just plate it up.
Wow.
And I think that's probably good. And we're going to serve this with the salad.
And don't forget your cocktail, Joe. Sweet tea martinis.
Yes, the sweet tea martinis.
It smells delicious, and I'm sure this is going to taste test. Okay, so let's taste it out.
Okay, I'm going to get a little taste of.
Delicious. This is amazing.
Does it get the Clover Culinary seal of approval?
Oh, yes, of course it does.
Well,
Quite
that's
hot.
what we want.
So thanks so much for sharing us with this recipe.
Well,
So let's go to our dining room table and eat up.
yes, now comes the best part, because
We get to eat.
the best way to eat is with friends. So, hope you're all hungry.